My name is Angelica Otiniano, and this is my critical reflection video for the film AICE, made by myself, Solange Sarami, Lorena Perez, and Gabriella Borden. To start off with question 1, how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? AICE falls under the thriller/suspense category, the genre known for producing hit films such as Seven, Psycho, Black Swan, and more. Conventions for these films revolve around dark scenery, clueless main characters, and spooky soundtracks. AICE takes on a different way to display typical conventions in this tone of film, such as challenging backgrounds and plot. As we see, our victim Sam is being murdered midday, with her murderer Alex being displayed out in the open. As ironic as it was to show Alex looking around nervously to ensure no one saw her commit this crime, this is something not typically drawn out in murder scenes. Along with scenery, non-diegetic sound is typically playing in order to build up to the scene's climax. Here we had dialogue with Sam speaking to herself in disbelief about the college acceptance and pure silence once Alex gets to her. Lastly, our thriller displays the main conflict in the very beginning of the film, causing the movie to work backwards in plot. This is a reoccurring technique with mysterious plots. However, plots do not show who is guilty until the end. In AICE, it is clear who is behind the crime.
Allison? Did you miss me?
Transitioning into representation of social issues, AICE ultimately discusses sin through the idea of jealousy and the overall murder of Sam, Alex's best friend. We display a typical high school issue, the stress of finding education after graduation, and mix it into a story of jealousy turned insanity turned murderer. Question 2. How does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? AICE could be predicted to bring a variety of success, as it is a thriller film taking place in a high school setting. While this might not target older adult audiences, the film deals with a realistic scenario that teenagers go through every year. Millennials and younger audiences will engage with both main characters Sam and Alex, as well as the overall high school atmosphere, as it plays well with other typical thrillers. To focus in more on plot, graduating classes are filled with peer pressure, taunts, and overall stress regarding school acceptance letters.
Why are you here?
I want to go to school at Notre Dame.
This can be explored through the film as it takes on the story of Alex and her frustration with her dream school not only rejecting her, but accepting her best friend Sam. Regarding distribution, AICE would depend heavily on technological resources at everyone's fingertips, as well as clever contracts with larger and more powerful media institutions. Teaming up with a great production company owned by a distributor with an impressive reputation for killer thrillers and movies in general would bring a variety of attention to the film right off the bat. Following this type of exposure would be the actual marketing, using simpler things such as flyers, commercials, ads, and billboards. This would eventually lead to the expansion into social media and online publication. Not only would this allow audiences to individually follow movies prior and after its release, but would also allow an opportunity for the cross-media convergence and synergetic relationships with other companies.
Those benches can be a bit dodgy, but we haven't lost anyone yet. Not this week, anyway.
Hey, you lot! Come see the driving, have you?
Right, come on, we're going to the Quidditch pitch.
Question 3. How did your production skills develop throughout this project? This film as a whole was a learning process. This film opening taught me the smaller details that have a greater impact on the final project, such as camera movements, sound adjustments, downloading and exporting, titles, and overall cutting and clipping together pieces of film to create a fluid scene.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
With the film, my group attempted to incorporate a diversity of angles and movements to keep the content fresh and avoid boring the audience with a straight-ahead view. It could also add to the tone of the film as Sam is being taken away and suspense is building. Sound adjustments were important to ensure Sam's minimal dialogue in the beginning could be heard, as well as Alex's statement being played over the non-diegetic music.
My best friend did the one thing I told her not to do. That's why I had to kill her.
Downloading and exporting our content from the iPhone we used required a longer process as opposed to a traditional camera, but it was simple to figure out. Our film titles were played with a lot to get a well-fitting font, appearance, and size of text. Lastly, the general concept of cuts and pushing together different parts to create the perfect jumps were interesting.
To film school or not to film school? That is the question, or it might be if you're interested in becoming a filmmaker.
Personally, I do not believe I would like to pursue a profession in the movie industry, whether in or behind the scenes. While this project was enjoyable and an experience to have up my sleeve, I can definitely say that it will just remain that. Question 4. How did you integrate technologies in this project? The entire school year I used WordPress and learned about the world of blogging. I created my own online space to be able to discuss and record my progress in not only the class, but also the creation of Alex. Prior to shooting, our research began with internet sources such as Watch the Titles, Box Office Mojo, and various newspaper articles to familiarize ourselves with the way institutions work, study big films and their processes, and analyze conventions in our film genre. After doing so, the group watched other popular thrillers, like mentioned previously, on streaming sites Amazon Prime and Hulu for further research purposes. To start our project, the group decided to film it on one of our iPhones simply because the mics pick up well and the camera quality is exceptional. On the computer, we used the editing software iMovie to piece together the film opening and add the titles. Finally, once Alex was created and ready to be submitted, we used YouTube to publish it.